Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angee. The past Halloweens, I've been having so much fun with special effects makeup. In today's video, I thought it'd be fun to share 3 simple special effects makeup looks. Great to scare your friends or for a last minute Halloween costume. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified for fun new makeup looks. Let's get started. For the first look, I call this the sewed up look. For this sewed mouth look, I'm starting out with determining where I want the sews to be. So I'm just putting dots with an eyeliner. And at first I was being a little bit indecisive. I didn't want it to be too far apart from each other or too close to each other. So I was imagining it in my head first and then drawing it on. I'm going to be applying a nude shade from Those Colors onto my lips to make them look pale, and this shade is perfect because it blends into my skin tone. It's crazy. First, taking black string, I'm cutting off a piece and I'm measuring it with the dots I've made. Then I'm connecting the dots, making sure it fits. Once I have the length that I want, I'm using that string as my guide to cut off more string with the same length. I'm now applying latex on top of all the dots that I've made, and this is going to give the wound texture. I'm dipping into non-activated red paint, and this is similar to eyeshadow. I'm just going to give the latex color. You can use red eyeshadow instead. I just had red paint in front of me, so I'm just going to use it. Dipping into the black shade, I'm only applying it in the center of the circles. This will give the wound color and it will also look real looking. It's all about the little details, guys. It really makes a difference in the end result. Once that is done, I'm applying a dot of latex on the first 2 wounds. This will help the string to stick. And once I've placed the string, I'm adding a little more latex on top of it to secure it. And I'm just repeating the same steps for the rest. Taking a sewing needle, be extra careful because it is sharp. I'm threading the needle and tying a knot to secure it. And you want to make sure to tie the knot real good on there so that that needle isn't going anywhere. Then I'm sticking it to the wound with latex. I'm slowly letting go of it and I'm drying all the latex with my fan, which is amazing. I use it for everything. Going back in with the red shade, I'm applying it to all the wounds just to cover up that latex. Shaking up some fake blood, I'm applying it to the center of the wounds with a defining brush, and I'm not going too crazy with the blood. I wanted the wound to look like the blood is coming out of the needle pokes. And that is pretty much it for this look. Now you can look like you've sewed your mouth shut. You can stop there if you like, or if you're extra like me, you can take this look even further. Okay, so I first dip my brush in water, then in fake blood to create dripping effects. This will make it look like the needle poke is continuously bleeding. I only applied it on 2 of them because I felt like if it was on all of them, it would look too much. But yeah, that is pretty much it. For the second look, I call this broke the mouth look. Starting off with drawing a line on both sides of my mouth, this will be our guide to follow. And I angled that line a little upwards. Taking the shade I'm Nude, this is my favorite liquid lip. I like that it has a pink undertone to it, and we are trying to make our lips pale, but not too pale. With a piece of toilet paper, I'm splitting it into 2 so that it's even thinner. Then I'm tearing a strip of it and tearing all the sides of it so that there isn't any solid lines. By doing this, it will give more texture. Once I have the size that I want, I'm applying it on top of the first line that I had made. And I'm putting latex all over it to secure it. Once it's dried, I applied a second layer of toilet paper and latex. You can use Kleenex or even napkins instead of toilet paper. I like to use toilet paper because it's thin to work with and gives off better texture at the end result. And as you can see, I'm doing the same to the other side as well. And here I am just applying a second layer of toilet paper and latex to the other side. I'm now using my fan to help dry the latex faster. Using my Lancome foundation, I applied it on my sponge and I'm dabbing it onto the latex to blend it into my skin. Okay, for this part, be extra careful when doing this. I'm using my eyebrow scissors to cut a line through the toilet paper and latex. You can use your fingers to break it too, but I didn't want the cut to be too big, so I used my scissors to cut it instead. Taking the red paint, I'm filling the insides of the cut and I'm also applying it on the outsides of the cut. I activated the red paint with water and I use paint because it's more pigmented than red eyeshadow. I also applied a bit of paint on the sides of my lips and tapped it out with my fingers. I'm now dabbing on black paint on the insides of the cut and also on the outsides. And I'm focusing this black paint around the wound, not really much on the wound, just because it will help to give more dimension and make it look more real. I dipped my brush in fake blood and now I'm applying it on the insides of the cut and a little on my lips and on the outsides. You want to make it look a little messy. I'm now using a sponge to dab out the blood on the edges to make the blood look blurred out. Using a darker shade of fake blood, I'm applying it on the insides of the cut to make it look like the blood is dripping down my neck, and you can do as much as you want, but I did only a few drops. And that is it for this look. Now you can look like you cut your mouth or you laughed so much that you teared it open. Now let's move on to the next look. For the last look, I call this look when you forget to put on sunscreen on the lower half of your face, or in other words, sunburned. Starting off with latex, I'm using it to draw on a U-shaped line that starts from the tip of my nose. And I'm repeating the same for the other side. Then I teared a piece of toilet paper. You want to make sure that all the edges are ripped off so that there isn't any solid lines. I'm then placing it right on top of the latex that we just drew on. And latex does dry pretty fast, so you want to apply it real quick. And to seal it, I'm just applying more latex on top of the toilet paper. And I'm just doing the same for the other side. I want to make sure that I seal it real good. Now I'm going in with the toilet paper. I'm applying it all over the lower half of my face. And you're probably thinking why I'm using a small brush to apply the latex. Well, I had no idea till later. Then I realized and changed it to a much bigger brush, which made things go by so much faster. Also, don't forget to apply the toilet paper on the mouth because we are going for that chapped lips look. So I'm just applying the rest on the areas that needs to be filled. I'm only applying one layer of latex all over just to seal it, and it also helps to add texture as well. I am now using my handy dandy fan to dry the latex, and you want to make sure that it's completely dried before moving on. Using my tweezers, I'm pulling the paper and latex in an upwards motion, and I'm only pulling it a little bit and not too much, or it's just going to come right off. And by doing this, it will make it look like the skin is lifting. Going in with the red shade, I'm applying it anywhere on my skin that is showing through. Taking a sponge with red paint on it, I'm applying it all over. And I'm just dabbing it all over. You don't want to swipe because swiping will just take everything off. Now with the black shade, I'm applying it under the lifted latex. And I'm also putting it around the areas that have openings of my skin. By applying the black shade, it will give the wound dimension. Now for the fun part, I'm applying fake blood on the areas that my skin is showing through. So that is underneath the lifted skin on both sides, and then my nose, and then also like the little random areas. To make dripping effects, I dip my brush into water first, then into the fake blood. The fake blood has a very thick consistency, so to loosen it up, the water really helped with it. I'm applying it on random areas, mainly on the parts where my skin is showing through. I then apply it underneath my chin so that it drips down my neck. So I threw on my brown wig to see how it looks like, and oh my gosh, I actually thought it tightened the whole look. The dark hair brings out the wounds even more. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully it helped for those of you who are getting into special effects makeup, or for those of you who are just curious about special effects makeup. I had fun sharing these 3 simple looks with you all. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video.